Hey guys, Pat here from Run Country. God is good all the time. Well, I want to give you a little update on this chipper, WM8H WoodMaxx chipper. And again, I bought this used. It was damaged when I bought it, so I got it for about 1/3 of the cost of a new one. So I kind of looked into the new ones a little bit, and some of the new ones, they look like they've taken care of some of the stress issues that come along with this one. And what I mean by that is it doesn't take much pressure for this little support mechanism that goes to the front or the top linkage on your tractor. It's a three-point chipper. I got it on a 45 horse LS tractor. But this right here takes a lot of stress, and as a result, right in here you can see where it's kind of puckered out a little bit again. I had straightened that out when I first bought this. I had bought it like that, and I straightened that out, and that pucker's kind of coming in a little bit. And that's not because of abuse and running up and down the roads 100 miles an hour. If I do go across rough terrain, it's nice and slow, but that is a weak point. I've watched other videos, and they've gusseted those up a little bit. So, it's not just, if you call the manufacturer, they claim it's because people are abusing the equipment, and that's simply not the case. With that being said, the first time you bend metal, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker all the time. I didn't heat it up. I straightened it by cold means, which means I just pressed it back into place with a 20-ton jack, strapping the chipper down to my trailer and then jacking that back into place. I didn't get it perfect, but I got it close enough. I replaced that jack shaft. It's been running great ever since then. I've probably chipped, I'd say probably about 20 yards of material so far. I've been chipping alder, hemlock, and a tiny bit of spruce, not much, but mostly hemlock and alder. Hemlock tops are a conifer tree, so there's a lot of needles and a lot of hairy branches. They got a lot of needles on them. They have a tendency to kind of get glommed up in here. After I tighten the belts up, because these are brand new, went ahead and put brand new belts on here. When I put that new jack shaft on, I just went ahead and replaced the belts because the original belts were a little bit cracked and weathered, so I went ahead and changed them out, to shotgun the whole thing, changed those out. I changed the pulley, but I didn't necessarily have to do that. The pulley wasn't, something was bent down there and wobbling around, so I assumed it was that jack shaft. But I went ahead and bought the pulley and jack shaft and belts and replaced them all, just in case, one or the other was bad. But it was the jack shaft that was haywire, and the belts had some age, dry rot, a little bit of dry rot cracks in them. So the other day I went ahead and tightened these up again. They were slipping. Let's see. I think as a result, when I was putting some of those tops through, this thing got clogged a couple of times, and I believe it was because the belts were slipping, and I wasn't going into that 540 RPM for the PTO, so that's on me. That's not a big deal to clear this. All you have to do is just there's 2 bolts here and then 2 bolts on the back side, just like it. That comes right off. You can clean the chute out and, obviously turn the tractor off, all that good safety stuff. Make sure your PTO is not running. And, you can clear the material out of here. And then I just go ahead and fire it up and, let it run without the chute, so it kind of clears inside here a little bit better. You also have some plates over here. You have a plate on the front, plate on the bottom back here that you can access for cleaning it out. These access plates right here are so you can maintain the blades, change out the knives on the flywheel. So the other day I was down here chipping, and I was having rough time at it. It wasn't wanting to take, you know, a 4-inch piece of wood. I had to keep working it back and forth. I got this piece right here lodged up in the feeder. It went up like this, and the feed wheel didn't, you know, it was stuck basically. So went like this, because this was rubbing, kind of got hot right here against the flywheel. So anyway, in order to get that off, get that out of there, I went ahead and pulled this down, found the right size rock, and just put it up underneath here to span this right here. So then I stuck this little pry bar in there and was able to work this out away from the flywheel and get it back out into the feed chute, I guess you'd call this thing, lack of a better term. The other thing I noticed this morning when I was removing that this spring, this had broke right here. There's a little L bracket. I'll show you on the other side. This little L bracket on the other side broke right in where it bends. It makes a 90-degree bend. So incidentally, this tensioner spring was dangling down here. I said, well, I only got half the pull down to the feed roller in here. So I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, an hour from town. So I went ahead and figured I could take the original eye bolt, remove the piece of angle iron, and rebolt this together and just bend that down. And then I had a shackle I could just put on there, and it hooked it to the shackle. And so it's pretty close. The tension's pretty close. A lot better than it was. I think it's about a ½ inch off from the other side. But I think that'll put me back in business again. So this morning, all I'm doing is I'm gonna grease this up good. I got some more chipping to do. So for every one tree you take down, you've got several, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say hours, but you have, I don't know, quite a bit of time involved with cleaning it up. You gotta chip the limbs. You know, I'm not gonna burn this stuff. I'm gonna try to repurpose it for bedding and different things. So I'm, you know, got quite a bit of chipped up right now. I think it'll make good mulch eventually, or just good ground cover to walk on, keep you out of the mud. So anyway, would I say that this is an 8-inch chipper? Maybe if the blades are good and sharp. I wouldn't recommend cutting 8-inch wood in it day in and day out. But if it'll fit in that hole, it'll handle it. You gotta, of course, you know, slow and stop it. The nice thing about this chipper, it is a self-feeding chipper. If I were you and I would do a lot of chipping, I wouldn't go for the gravity feed ones. I'd go for something that'll self-feed. All the way back is feeding. That's forward, or that's reversing. So if you're loading a chipper up, you got an extra hard piece of wood, or it's not wanting to chip like you're feeding, you can reverse it for a second, or you can put it in neutral. Right here's neutral. This is feed, and that's reverse. This has got a emergency stop on it, or emergency stop and reverse. You can operate with this thing here. I like to use the handle. I just put this handle on. It didn't have a handle when it came with it. It had this little. I just put this little bolt in there to get me going. Been using it actually clear up until today. So I've chipped about 15 yards of material so far. Here's the tractor that I've been using. It's an LS 4145, and it's been doing a great job. Here's one of the piles of material. That's probably about maybe 5 yards right there. I like the size. I like how how small it chips it up. It'll chip everything I've got in this pile. I'm going to try to clean up some of this right here. What I can get through the chipper, I'll feed it through the chipper and recycle it. Again, these little tops here, they have a lot of needles and stuff. It struggles with that a little bit, but it chips it up just fine. The drier the better. I could chip this in here. I'll probably just make that into firewood, but I like the alder chips. It will take that piece right there, and that's every bit of 5 or 6 inches. Anyway, that's the update on the chipper. Overall, I'm happy with it. If I was going to try to make a living with it, I suppose you could do some of that. You kind of get what you pay for, you know. When I was looking at those things, I was looking for like a trailer drawn one that you pull behind a truck. I like the versatility of this one here. You can get it into tighter places, but I wouldn't call it industrial grade. You know, it's great for a farm, great for somebody who's got a little bit of acreage. But if I was running a tree business or something like that, I don't know if I would go with something like this. It would go great in, you know, to get this into a backyard or something like that. That's one thing, but it's got its pluses and minuses. So overall, I think I'm happy with it. I think the newer ones, kind of looking them over a little bit, you know, online and stuff like that, just kind of looking at how they build these, you know, the part where it hooks up to the 3-point on the tractor is definitely a little more robust. So I think they worked out some things. I think they're a little bit in denial, because I called them up and, you know, was telling them about that front piece over there, and the response I got is, well, everybody thinks they're an engineer. Anyway, I was in engineering in college, but I wouldn't call myself an engineer per se. But I know enough about a little bit about fabricating and how things work, and a result of just, you know, tootling around a little bit, that's not strong enough. But anyway, you know, looking at other chippers that are out there on YouTube, the people that have these things, you know, I was watching one video and a guy had a guy stiffen that front end up, but other than that, you know, I'm really happy with it. So especially for the money I paid for it. Anyway, an update on the chipper. Thanks for stopping by. Take care, and God bless.